everyone, we hope you are all well, and with this video we would like to share some teachings regarding the awakening of the consciousness. So in this video we will study what the consciousness is, what the awakening of the consciousness is, what are the four states that our consciousness can be found, what are the schools of awakening, what are the benefits of awakening, and also a small practice that is called the Hermetic seal. First of all, what is consciousness? Consciousness, we have to differentiate it from the processes of the mind, from the processes of memory, of knowledge. Consciousness is not that. Consciousness is a spiritual presence that is found in the moment that allows to the person that he perceives and he receives information from more subtle dimensions. It is like a mediator between the physical aspect of a person and the spiritual. Now, our consciousness can be found in four different states. It is like a building with four floors, and according to if we are into lower states or higher states, what we perceive is more subjective or objective. The first state of consciousness is called sleep. In ancient Greece, it was called ikasia, and it is the state where our physical body is lying on the bed and our consciousness is not awakened, is absolutely subjective, and everything that we perceive is transformed. As an example, a person hears a sound of water, and a subconscious consciousness transforms this impression maybe into a huge waterfall. Everything is subjective in this state. The second state of consciousness is called vigilance, and it is the state where the physical body is now active, has stood up from the bed, and is active, is living. But our perception, our consciousness, continues being subjective. Maybe we hear something, but we interpret it totally different. Or we say something without being aware of it. Or we forget things that happened to us a few moments ago. That means the consciousness is not present. We continue living in a fantasy in this state. This is the state that most people spend the biggest part of their lives, and it is a state which is totally subjective. People do not perceive the reality as it is, but rather an opinion or belief that they have about the reality. Now, the third state of consciousness is called self-consciousness, or dhyana, and it is a state where the person begins to remember himself. It is a state where the person is conscious of his acts, of his words, of what he perceives, and from this state, the person begins to awaken. This third state of consciousness rarely comes by its own. It is only in small moments where we are in new situations, in small moments of fear or unexpected situations, that this conscious state is produced. Otherwise, it needs a conscious discipline so that a person can enter into this third state of consciousness. Now, the characteristic of this third state of consciousness is that a person remembers himself. The person has a correct relationship between his being, his physical body, and his surroundings. He has a correct inner state to every outer situation. And at last, the fourth state of consciousness is called objective consciousness. It is like the highest floor of consciousness that we can find ourselves. It is the state that the masters of humanity have reached, and it is a state where the person perceives objectively everything surrounding him. As an example, a person can hear something or someone speaking and perceive the reason, or he can perceive information about the way through the way that the person speaks about the person, or somebody can receive through the eyes information but perceive even deeper aspects of what the person sees. Now, how is this awakening produced? How is this third state of consciousness produced? We have to see that it has two aspects. One aspect, it is to eliminate what makes us asleep, to eliminate what has trapped our consciousness, to eliminate our defects and egos. The other aspect has to do with activating the percentage of free essence that we have. And the free essence that we have is activated through conscious discipline. One of them would be to put simply attention to the events of life, to put attention to himself, what somebody is doing, what somebody is hearing. It has to do with directing consciously our attention to the events of life. And the awakening of the consciousness should be understood as something absolutely practical, totally practical. It is not a knowledge, it is not a theory, it is not an understanding that the person receives, but rather it is a practice that the person is doing from moment to moment. It has to do with actually living what the person lives, doing what the person does, and being aware of it. And the first step to awaken is actually to realize that we are asleep. It is to realize different aspects of ourselves that we are not conscious. Maybe the way we speak, maybe the way we move, the way our mind works, the way our emotions are. There are different aspects of ourselves that we are not conscious of. And through this unconscious inner state, we act in everyday life. Throughout the ages, the awakening was symbolized by different things. It was symbolized as an example through the cricket, or by the cricket because of the mystical sound that it has, or also by the gallo, or the rooster, because it is what brings the new day, and also by the sun, because it is what brings the light, what brings life inside of the person into life. And the awakening of the consciousness is really difficult when a person tries to do it alone. This is why always there were formed groups of people that tried to work on the same goal, because there was a master that says that to want to awaken is not enough. Somebody needs a group, because through the group is created the energy that supports, in the period, in the passage of time, the awakening of the consciousness. And these groups or schools of awakening that always existed have and give us two things. The first one is somebody that has done it before. That would be a guidance, a guide. The second thing, it is the energy that we need to accomplish this work, because we need to work continuously and for a long time to achieve the awakening of the consciousness. And through the energies of the group, this is made possible. And why would we want to awaken? What are the benefits of awakening? First of all, the person saves a big, huge amount of energy. The person begins to do less mistakes, to take always more and more correct decisions. Also, the problems that happen in life and in society would not happen because wars, social problems, political problems are due to the sleep of the consciousness. And another important benefit of the awakening is that the faculty of intuition begins to awaken. It is a faculty that is natural to the human being, and it allows him to perceive the higher truth. And at last, there is a very helpful practice that we can do that is called the Hermetic seal. It has two aspects. It is taking the decision every morning when we stand up to live consciously, to be present in ourselves, to remember ourselves, and simply, secondly, to do a prayer at the beginning of the day. And the prayer is as follows. Somebody can close his eyes and concentrate to his heart, and he can say, I beg my inner being that he helps me this day that now begins, not to become identified with any negative thought, with any negative emotion, neither from inside nor from outside, with any situation of outside life, so that I may be this day as close as possible to my being, and nothing and no one may guide my life. May this day be guided by my real, profound inner being. And this would be a very helpful practice and some helpful reflections and understanding about the awakening of the consciousness. We hope this may be helpful for you. You may practice it. You can come in contact with us, and we hope you're all very well. Be well.